Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008 or visit us online at www.kaizenfinancialinc.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. And while at my website, click on my podcast page to check out my past shows and also to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Okay, you'd be surprised how often I meet people who don't realize their 401k comes with fees. And I get it because those costs are usually tucked away in, let's say, the fine print. But here's the thing, over the course of a career, those fees can quietly add up to thousands of dollars. Now, during today's conversations, we're going to break down 401k fees in plain English, where to find them, what they really mean for your long term savings, and what steps you can take, well, to keep them under control. My goal is simple, to make sure you have the clarity and confidence you deserve when it comes to your retirement plan. But before we jump into our topic, let me first introduce my co host, Tony Shore, whose wit and wisdom come to us today without any hidden fees. Hey, Tony, how we doing, buddy?
No hidden fees here. That's right.
Fun. I love it.
What you see is what you get, or as we call it, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. I promise. No management
Nice.
fees, no fine print, just some good conversation today, Albert.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to be a great show because, after all, everybody I know has a 401k or a similar employer sponsored retirement plan. And they
Mhm.
are an essential part of retirement for millions of Americans out there. I'm glad we're going to spotlight some of the key ins and outs. Always a good subject. So, where do you want to begin with this today?
Well, let's begin with the USA article titled Changing Jobs, How to Protect Your 401k from Hidden Fees. One of the most important things to understand about 401ks is that fees add up over time. And here's where it can catch people off guard. If you change jobs, your old employer may have been covering some of those retirement account fees while you were there. But once you leave, those costs often shift right back to you. And the truth is, many people don't even realize it's happening, Tony. For example, something as small as, let's say, a $4.55 monthly account maintenance fee doesn't sound like much. But over the course of a career, that little drip can add up to more than $17,000 lost to
Wow.
fees, according to the article. Now, that's why it's so important to know what you're paying and to make sure those dollars are working for you and not against you, Tony.
Wow. I mean, that's really eye-opening. And think of what that money, if it had been left in your account, could have earned with compounding interest.
Oh,
I
yes.
think most people would be shocked to hear how a fee that small can snowball. And a lot of people don't think they're even paying fees or don't know about the fees they're paying within their 401ks, right?
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and you know, and that's the kind of clarity I want listeners to have. So you can make smarter decisions and keep as much of your hard-earned savings in your pocket as possible. All right. Now, let's talk about one of the most practical steps you can take, getting a copy of your 401k fee schedule. You know, whether it's an old account you left behind with a former employer or a brand new one you're starting at your current job, you want to know exactly what you're paying. Now, here's the tricky part though. Those fee details are often buried deep in the plan documents. So most people never see them, but they're there. And your employer is required to provide them. The document is often called the 401A5 fee disclosure. Now, the bill, depending on the plan, it may have a different name. But if you're not sure where to look, don't worry. You can usually find it right on your plan website. Or if that's a hassle, your HR department should be able to provide it just for you. So the bottom line is this, knowing what to look for and where to find it gives you more control. And that means you can make smarter decisions about your retirement savings.
Yeah, and that's important. I think that's good advice, Albert, because let's be honest, most of us aren't spending our weekends digging through 401k or 403b or TSP
Oh,
fine print and paperwork, right?
right.
Yeah.
And, once you've got your hands, let's say, on a copy of a 401k fee schedule, Tony, the next step is knowing what to look for. And this is where it can feel, let's say, a little overwhelming because these fees come with all kinds of different names. Some of the most common ones you'll see are things like transaction fees, investment management fees, mutual fund expense ratios, administrative fees, and then individual service fees. Now, sometimes they'll even have more technical labels like, let's say, sub transfer agent fees or distribution costs. Here's my advice. Whenever you're reviewing your participant fee disclosure, train your eyes to catch any term that hints at a fee. If it sounds like a charge, chances are it is. And remember that you don't have to navigate this alone. Part of my role is helping people translate these confusing terms into, well, plain English. So you know exactly what you're paying and why. And that way you stay in control and then also confident about where your money is going, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Albert. It's even worse than two of my pet peeves are there's a major oil change chain that if you go to and you look on the bill or some auto repair places, you get an oil change, and there's all these different things, taxes and
Yes.
fees.
Yes.
The same with concert tickets. If you go online to
Oh,
the
big
major
time.
concert ticket the different types of fees they list, the names are crazy and it's irritating. It's like, why so many fees and taxes and surcharges? What is all this? But 401ks honestly sound worse from what you described. So most of us don't have time to decode all the financial jargon and the different fees.
Mhm.
So having somebody like yourself to talk about it with and have us, walk through it with us, I think that really makes a difference.
It can. It
Yeah.
does. And folks, if you want to learn more about your 401k, I visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialinc.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen, or call my office 586-752-7008. Discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about 401ks, your financial strategies, and any other part of your retirement.
Yeah, that's great, Albert. And today on Own Your Retirement, you've been talking about how to handle a 401k if and when you change jobs or leaving a job, going to a new one. But even if you aren't planning on switching jobs anytime soon, these are still very useful insights and details about your retirement plans and accounts like 401ks, 403bs, TSPs in general, really. So, what's next on the agenda?
Well, let's stay with the USA Today article titled Changing Jobs, to Protect Your 401k from Hidden Fees. It has some more things in there. One in particular, most important thing is what you can do with your 401k, making sure you're not overpaying in fees. So in reality, every 401k plan charges something. Now, you can't avoid that part. However, you can do is take steps to keep those costs as low as possible. Now, most plans fall somewhere between 0.5% and 2% of your account value every year. And here's a good rule of thumb. If your fees are over 0.5%, there's a good chance you're paying way too much. And remember, this isn't just about numbers on a page. Every extra dollar going to fees is a dollar that's not staying in your account, growing and compounding for your retirement. In fact, work with your financial services professional to spot those hidden costs, keep more money working for you, and make sure your plan is set up to support your long term goals.
Yeah. I mean, most people probably don't even realize how big of an impact a small percentage can make over time.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I always say know what you're paying and make sure your dollars are working as hard as you are. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realize. You won't find a single prospectus for your 401k as a whole. Instead, you'll find individual prospectuses for each fund inside your plan. Now, a prospectus is just a fancy word for a document that breaks down what a fund is all about, including its goals, what you can expect from it, the risk involved, and yes, the fees. And most of the time, you can find these online through your plan's website. And if you can't, hey, just quickly call your HR department or plan administrator, and they should be able to get you what you need, Tony.
Yeah, that's so helpful because to most people, the word prospectus probably sounds intimidating. I just picture a lot of fine print, but really, it's just a roadmap that
Mhm.
tells you where your money's going and what it's costing you, right?
Yeah, for sure. And once you know how to read it, you can use that information to make smarter decisions. While you can't get rid of fees, let's say entirely, there are smart ways to reduce them. For example, look for lower cost investment options. If a fund has fees greater than, like I said before, a 0.5%, it's worth asking if it really belongs in your portfolio. Consider also index funds or target date funds, which usually carry much lower fees than actively managed funds. And then use comparison tools online because some resources let you stack up your plan's fees against similar ones to see if you're overpaying. And then finally, ask for help. Your HR team or plan administrator can often point you toward lower cost options that might be hiding in plain sight. And then finally, if you've, let's say, left a 401k behind at an old employer, consider rolling it into an IRA that can give you more flexibility and access to more lower cost investments. At the end of the day, 401k fees aren't necessarily hidden, but they can be tricky to track down. And don't forget that once you know where to look, that knowledge becomes like, kind of a superpower, Tony. It allows you to take money that might have been eaten up by fees and redirect it back into your future.
Yeah. Well, that's a great perspective, Albert. I mean, it's not about avoiding fees completely. You can't
Right.
do that, but it is about keeping more of your money working for you.
Yeah. And let's also briefly touch on another article from Motley Fool titled 401k hardship withdrawals are on the rise, according to recent report. Here's what they are and what they mean for your retirement account. And what hardship withdrawals are kind of like, let's say, medicine. You hope you never need them, but if you do, there are usually some side effects, Tony.
Yeah. Well, that's that's true. I feel like a lot of people don't realize just how tough some of those side effects can be, right? I mean, when it
Mhm.
comes to their 401ks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it. With the 401k, the rule of thumb is pretty simple. Only put in money you can leave there until retirement. If you take it out before age 59 and a half, you're usually hit with both taxes and a 10% penalty. That's a costly move. But the IRS does allow some hardship withdrawals in very specific situations, like, let's say, big medical bills, avoiding foreclosures, funeral costs, or even education expenses or a down payment on a first home. In those cases, you avoid the penalty, but the withdrawal is still tax. And the big catch is that you can't put the money back once it's gone from there, Tony.
Yeah. That sounds like it could have a pretty big impact on somebody's retirement.
Oh my gosh, it can. And we're seeing more people, unfortunately, turning to this option. Vanguard's How America Saves report that they do, which is cited in the article, shows that in 2020, about 1.7% of participants took hardship withdrawals. By 2024, that number had jumped to almost 5%.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a steady climb. And it shows how many families are leaning on retirement savings just to get by.
Yeah, and that's not good. That's for retirement. You shouldn't
Yes.
tap into those funds, and don't do that without consulting a trusted financial
Oh, for
professional. I mean,
sure.
if
Right.
somebody's thinking about a hardship withdrawal, what should they keep in mind?
Well, the biggest thing is the trade-off, okay? You're
Sure.
not only just losing the money you pull out, Tony, but you're also losing the future growth it could have generated. So that can set you back years. So before going down that road, it's worth exploring other options, like, let's say, a 401k loan instead. A loan doesn't trigger taxes or penalties, and as long as you pay it back, usually within 5 years, oh my gosh, the money goes right back into your account where it needs to keep growing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even gotten into Roth IRAs and
Mhm. Mhm.
The catch-up provisions that 401ks have. I know in previous shows, Albert, you've mentioned, hey,
Oh,
people
yeah.
need to uh, do those catch-up provisions, do as much as they can afford. I mean, not everybody can contribute the full amount they're allowed, but you should get as close as you can and make sure you're putting it in the right type of an account. Maybe some of it should go into your 401k to get the match, right? You got to put in enough to get the full match. You've said that before.
Definitely gotta get full match,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
But beyond that, you might want to open up your own Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. So I know these are options. There's a lot of options, and you have to look at what makes sense for you personally. Everybody's situation is different. So
Mhm.
before we go, let our listeners out there know, Albert, how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, listeners, you can visit my website at kaizenfinancialinc.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. Or you can call my office at 586-752-7008. Discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about your 401k, or maybe your financial strategy or any other parts of retirement. Remember, it's our goal to help you prepare for the retirement you've worked so hard for so you can own your retirement.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, Albert, great show today.
Yes.
Great topic. It affects so many people out there. Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. And that does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.